What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down what moved in, go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi did go down 0.71%, 1249 the low, 1294 the high. So definitely did have some pretty good momentum first thing. Broader market concerns did start to take it down a little bit. So it was rather unfortunate, but it still did hold some key levels. So I'm going to go over that in a second. But for SoFi, you had 40.4 million shares being traded. 47.4 is the average. And these are all the transactions that did occur on the secondary market above $100,000. So 1.9, 1 million, 1.6, a lot of abnormal transactions being done today. Most likely you'll see a lot tomorrow as well. Tomorrow should be a very volatile day. It is quad witching. So in among itself, that should bring a whole new level of volatility. But quickly jumping forward into options. So 7.12 million in calls, 4.03 in puts, 46% of all the options being done today were optimistic in nature. And of the call options that were done, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that 1350 to 14. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 1150. So they're anticipating a little bit more freak out tomorrow, but with tomorrow being Friday, just take note of this. This is some of the open interest. You have some big ones right here, 19,000 at that $10 strike price, 15,000 at that 12, 13,000 at that 1250, 25,000 at that 13. So if SoFi and just the broader market starts to gain some good momentum, you could see shorts wake up when it got, or if it does get close to that $13 mark tomorrow, as obviously shorts and market makers have a financial interest in ensuring that SoFi does not close below 13. So I think in general tomorrow should be quite the crazy day, so just kind of be aware of that all in all. But just take kind of note of some of these. Today there was no news associated to SoFi, so it was kind of just reacting off of the broader market. Market was kind of digesting. I think it had obviously overnight to think about what Powell stated and digest exactly what that does truly mean. In addition to that, though, there was also initial jobless claims that did come out. It was a little bit lower than the forecast, so 223,000 versus 225, which is good, but not necessarily the best for rate cuts. So the market obviously hit that a little bit because, as I mentioned in the video yesterday, it didn't make sense whatsoever, but the market 30 minutes after Powell stated that there won't be any cut for at least the foreseeable future in the short term, the market just said F it and decided to assume that there might be a little bit better of a likelihood for May. It didn't make sense, so this one as well as the June did get adjusted. So again, something to keep in mind. It does signal that clearly the market just wants that as the next big catalyst. But no news from SoFi today. There was a couple 144s that did come out. So this one right here, 𝗪𝗓, 33,000 shares, and it was not for tax purposes, so a straight up sell. Second one was Jeremy, and I believe he's that individual that's going through the lawsuit, but regardless, it is what it is. 68,000 shares, and similarly not for tax purposes. So once again, you can kind of take all that with a grain of salt, or if that means something to you, then so be it. But obviously with SoFi's earnings now concluded, if they really were bearish on SoFi, they could have sold it like the day after the earnings once the blackout did conclude. So I see this as nothing really crazy to worry about in my opinion. But aside from that, though, moving over to shorts did return 79,000 shares today. So if you kind of analyze this by shorts returning on somewhat of a red day, kind of signals that it wasn't just. So that's kind of a good thing going into tomorrow. So you might see a little bit of a recovery. 12.29% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 132.43 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow minimum has corrected itself, so you see that as positive again. And then through 𝗪𝗓𝗡, you see roughly in excess of 10 million shares available to be shorted. So there's a lot of ammunition if shorts really did feel that SoFi was gonna kind of just go down from here. There's a lot of ammunition that they could even double down. Very cheap as well. So through 𝗪𝗓𝗡, for example, cost to borrow is 0.27. That's an annual rate, not a daily rate. So it is very cheap to short obviously SoFi. So again, I see all this as relatively optimistic and bullish. The fact that shorts returned on today and everything else. But aside from all of that fun stuff, though, these are all the transactions that did occur on the secondary market, like I said. So should be a lot tomorrow. But first thing, you had this. So this is what really kickstarted that nice momentum first thing. So there was a entity 5.34 million, 1.26. So that's what gave it a nice boost higher right here. Dark pool transactions, you had a couple big ones, 1.39, 1.38. And then the rest seems to have been relatively smaller transactions throughout the day. But like I said, tomorrow should be a fun day with it at $12.64. Closed right below this S2, so $12.72 is going to be the next strong target / resistance that you really want to get over early on in the day to really set the nice trajectory. But obviously you have that $13 wall associated to options. So 1272 followed by 13, and then 1359 is going to be the next strong target / resistance points, and then 1131 is going to be the next strong support, which I don't see, even in the worst case scenario playing out, I don't see that being touched whatsoever. No new analyst ratings, nothing along those lines. SoFi was able to successfully stay above that ALMA, so that is sitting at $12.44. So pretty good stuff for that. The only negative about SoFi's technicals right now is the fact that stochastic RSI is rather overbought. But as obviously a lot of stocks do correct, a lot of stocks can stay in overbought status for extended periods of time. So nothing really to worry about. Hopefully SoFi does continue this good momentum upwards, stays above the ALMA, and then the next strong target / resistance would be that 1453 and then 1459. So the 50 and 100 day moving average is right up top here. So it is a slow, patient game that we are playing with SoFi, but as I mentioned, I do feel that it really wants to get back into that $13 to $17 range. And then from there, obviously you'll have blips where it goes above and below, but for the most part, I think the foreseeable future, it will be trading between that 13 and 17. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Did you buy today? Did you sell? I actually haven't done anything with SoFi in the last week or 2 weeks. So maybe tomorrow, if it does have some negative volatility, I'll be a buyer at that stage. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon where I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolutely on point and bangers. Even after hours today, we did have MU and also Nike's earnings. My predictions I put out last weekend were exactly 100% on point to exactly where they're going. So definitely worthwhile to pop over to the Patreon, and you can always check it out. So with all that said, appreciate all of you watching.